Our first speaker, we have Omowumi Toni-Falade. I am pleased to introduce you, Omowumi Toni-Falade. You are a global HR specialist and performance coach. She's the founder of She Elevates Africa, and she's focused on empowering young professionals with future-proof skills. So here you can see that there's some sort of like some partnership here because we're doing the same thing, right? She's renowned and known for her expertise in empowering young professionals, enhancing their well-being, productivity, performance. So think.
Okay, it's so great to be here. I'm truly honored to have been invited to come here. First off, thank you so much, Ayomide. Okay, so just I've been introduced. This is the topic. Own your words, prepare and position yourself for career success. I'm sorry, I've had a bad cold in a couple of days. I was almost going to cancel because I haven't been feeling so well, but I knew I had to be here. So please pardon my voice. And if you can't hear me well or something, just let me know. I'm going to do my best. Thank you very much. So this is a topic prepared by Upskilling for Jobs, build confidence through competence. And I'm going to be speaking, I'm going to try and rush through because I have a limited time, but then I'll try as much as possible to focus on basic things that I know that we really need to hear. Understanding upskilling, competence, and build confidence through competence, right? So what does it mean to upskill? I love a conversational presentation or something. I would have loved to ask you, but the time is very short, but I'm sure you understand. You should know what upskilling is. But then let's just jump in. So basically, upskilling is you already have the basic skills that got you the job or that should get you the job. But then the market is fast. Like the market trend is growing so fast. Let's say as a secretary, the skills you needed to carry your JD out effectively 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, it's not the same skills anymore. So you can imagine those years where people were using typewriters and that was just basic skills. This time you have several skills that might not be on your CV, that you might not have been taught in school, that you're expected to actually have. You know, it's almost unfair for those who have maybe fixed mindsets. They might be a bit entitled and feel offended that why does my organization expect me to know ABC when that was not what I studied in school or when they didn't train me on those things. But this is a market where the labor market is fast growing in such a way that you must be flexible, you must be up and doing, your eyes must be on upward and moving so fast, learning what is trending, learning what is required, because even business owners are not even sure they can list out A to Z what is required of you to do your job 100%. But then they are looking for people who are upward moving, upwardly mobile, who can say, okay, we have this challenge. I do not have this required skill, but I'm going to put myself under 5 days learning to know how to handle this thing, right? So basically, upskilling is acquiring new and relevant skills needed to thrive in your career. So this impacts your career and it requires a growth mindset. It just means you need to evolve. You need to be adaptable. You need to be flexible. You need to say, okay, what is the next big thing? I think somebody's mic is on. I need to be sure. I can hear someone else speaking. Please help us mute. Thank you. So let's say, for instance, you're a customer service person, but you do not know how to design. Like you don't have any design skills at all. But then you're working with this SME that it's almost impossible for them to pay a social media person, or maybe the social media person is even there. The digital marketer is there, but you need to put out a word. Let's say the person is just slow at the moment, but then you have this particular skill. You can use Canva well. You have the template of your organization. You have the designs. You have the brand. You have the brand color. You can actually go ahead and say, do you know what? during this break, during this window, I don't have any stuff I'm doing. I can just work on this flyer. That's just a soft skill there. Like that's just a soft skill that you have added value to the organization, which maybe your core customer service skill or role does not even require you to know how to design, that kind of thing. So acquiring new skills. Upskilling is also identifying skills in demand, right? There are skills in demand that it's not cast in stone, but they are the generic ones, right? But based on your industry, you must be a researcher. You must posture as a researcher. You must lean into networking. You must lean into industry trends and find out what is in demand in your industry. Imagine, let's say you're an esthetician, for instance, and then there's probably a new mask that people use now that they can just buy it off from a supermarket and it helps them to glow. And you're still there at your spa waiting for the same client to come into the spa, whereas they're already doing DIY at home, helping themselves to glow. You need to know you need to learn that particular trend that is in the market and then look for ways to bring it into your business, advise your CEO and say, okay, how do we ensure that we incorporate this particular process into what we do? Or should we give it as, just being able to research and know the skill that is in demand. The next thing about upskilling is adaptability, resilience, willingness to learn new skills. I know that things are tough, and that's why I put resilience here. Challenges can actually make it to mentally shut down. And most people, once they leave school, they literally abandon every form of learning, self-development, or any form of learning because they just feel like once I'm dropping my research, my projects like this, that's the end. That's not the end. If you had that mentality in the past, come out of it. It's old. It's not going to help you. That's not the end. You need to keep learning. You need to keep studying. You need to keep, courses. There are courses that you must keep learning. You have to be resilient. You have to be willing. You could actually have a schedule and say once a month I'm going to take a course. There are free courses everywhere. Or once in a quarter I'm going to take a paid course, right? But there must be that willingness to be adaptable, to be resilient. And career success is the overall outcome of upskilling. Your organization can pay for it. You can get a scholarship for it. You can put yourself on paced learning, but your career success is based on upskilling. It helps you to increase your job opportunity. It enhances your job security. So you can imagine there are two people in your department and they're thinking of who to lay off. It is the person who has been upskilling and who has been displaying skills, new skills, trendy skills that is going to be retained, right? So you have to integrate upskilling into your daily routine without overwhelm, which is what I explained earlier. There are different acts, different daily routines that can help you learn without looking like you're learning, right? And that's one of the reasons why I pay for my YouTube. For the longest time, I've always had a paid YouTube, and that's because there are platforms on YouTube that summarize books. So I know I have to read books, right? But I do not have enough time to read some books, especially new books in my industry. But then there are these YouTube channels that actually summarize books and just give you like 9 minutes of what is in the book. Once I'm able to listen to 1 or 2 books, that is me upskilling, that is me learning. Let me tell you a story. There was a particular time for the longest time, I was a manager in my career path. But then when I moved to another industry, I wasn't just a manager, I was the CEO, right? And that means I had managers under me. But the first 3 to 6 months, I was still thinking like a manager. That was when I discovered that there was a difference between being a manager and a leader. It was a mind, like, I literally just said, there's something I'm missing here. And my boss would always just look at me like, Wumi, don't come and meet me and ask me for what to do. I expect you to take decisions. And I was wondering, no, I'm used to people telling me what to do. Like my boss saying, this is what I need you to do. But now I'm like, you want me to be in charge? Are you not even scared? That's when, and I remember that it was on YouTube I went to, what's the difference between a manager and a leader? I saw some books, no, I saw some podcasts, and I think I spent like 2 weeks just immersed myself in the difference between being a manager and being a leader. And that was it. Practicing listening to that. I didn't need to go to Harvard at that moment. I didn't need to go get an MBA at that particular moment, but it was just a skill I needed to shift my output, my productivity. So right here, when making hiring decisions, which skills are the most important? And I saw when we're filling the questionnaire, like what's more important, soft skill or hard skill? So if you see my screen, it says for entry level, soft skills, maybe they should have about 40%, hard skills about 60%, right? Because you're just entry, right? So obviously, still the balance. You should still, have more head knowledge, what you were taught in school, your degree, and then while on the job, you will learn. The mid-level says 50-50. As you grow in your career path, 50-50. You should have 50% of this, 50% of hard skill and soft skill. But once you get into senior level, which was what I was talking to you about, I needed to understand the difference between being a manager and a leader. Once you get into senior level, you are shifting to 74% of soft skills, and then hard skills is reducing. Then executive level, 81% of soft skills and 19% of hard skills, right? And this might not be extremely accurate, but it just gives you an overview. Okay, so when you say what is hard skills, what is soft skills, I'm hoping someone is asking that. And this is just a summary, but this is not what it is. This is not the entire thing. And you also need to know what soft skills are required for your industry, right? But in general, hard skills are on the professional, educational, qualifications, computer skills, specific experience, working experience, and all of that. But soft skills are effective communication, leadership essentials, time management, self-management, selling and convincing skills, public speaking, adaptability, critical thinking. I can't see the chat, but maybe I should try and see. Okay, yeah, I can see the chat now. Sorry. I didn't see the chat for the longest time, right? Okay, so this soft skill, and I just want you to appraise yourself, because we have different personalities. I know some people would say I'm an introvert. I really do not know how to speak. I'm an extrovert. This one, me, I'm not a leader. I'm just fixing it. And I'm not really good with time management. And see, all of those things that you feel you are not, it is what is needed. Those are the soft skills, right? Okay. So what are the most important soft skills your employees are lacking? So this is me saying to you that this is maybe possibly what some of us are lacking, which I said about communication. I've worked with a lot of people, and one of the top key soft skills that people lack is communication skills. And that's what leads to all sorts of behavior in the workplace. All sorts of behavior in the workplace. People are imagining and thinking that their manager, their colleagues, and understand their minds. People just cannot really express themselves without tantrums, without emotions. People are not objective. People say things out of context, misunderstand people. I'm really grateful that I've worked with almost every tribe in Nigeria, right? And I'm able to understand that people from different culture communicate differently. But in the workplace, that does not really, you can't say because I'm from this tribe, that's why I communicate this way, because I'm not from this tribe. It doesn't work in a diverse workplace. Like, you must actually learn how to communicate, how to collaborate. And leadership is not just IT. A lot of people think that, being a manager or being a supervisor is what leadership is. No, leadership actually starts from self-leadership. If you cannot lead yourself and you don't have yourself, your emotions, yourself, your circumstances, everything put together, you come to work, you wear your emotions, you come to work, you wear your pain. And I'm not saying that you can't come to work showing, being vulnerable, but then you can't lead yourself. How then do you think you can be a leader? Like, just thinking about it. Then proactive thinking, just look at the list. And resilience is here, negotiation, empathy, creativity. For me, I probably will move resilience and empathy up, right? And creativity. I know creativity has been spoken of as almost one of the top skills you should have. It's great, but so many creatives who are not proactive in their thinking, who cannot adapt, and who cannot communicate, right? So I'm bringing this chart again. Upskilling is a cycle of continuous learning. It's a daily learning. That's why I gave you that example of you learning daily on the go. It's a cycle of continuous learning, new skills learning. So for the early career, you are actually have to focus on competency learning. What must I do better on this role? And you're not just thinking about that role alone. No, there's one of the things you must understand. Do you want to grow with an industry? You want to work with a particular industry. So let's say you are in maybe healthcare, for instance. You know that all of your life career, you're going to be in healthcare. So that's a competency that you're going to grow on that part. Or you want to grow on a role. You want to be a customer service expert or customer service executive, which means that you can work in any industry, whether healthcare, tech, or anywhere. You need to, first of all, in your early career path, you need to know where you're actually going, right? So, just look at what level are you? What level are you really? Mid-career? What hot skills are you supposed to? Just look at this chart. You can screenshot it, but I would also send it to Ayomide, right? So when we go to competency, right? And I think that Stoyin will speak more on this also. I'm not sure. When you go to competency, there are 5 elements that contribute to you being competent. That is your skills, your knowledge, your abilities, your behavioral attributes, your judgment and decision making, your judgment of decision making. So, when you're competent, it kind of like gives you confidence. Like a lot of people lack confidence at their work because in their career path because they know they don't have the right set skills. They are not really knowledgeable about that role or industry. They don't have the abilities. They don't really have the behavioral patterns like they know. But then you have to daily build your competence. If you want to put it a quarterly goal, like this first quarter, you should have a goal. What am I building? What am I working on? What feedback am I getting? So competence builds your confidence. You cannot be confident. Obviously, I've seen some people who are confident and they're empty, but that doesn't take them anywhere. It doesn't take them far, but you build your confidence through competence, right? Over time, you begin to scale through. Look at this guy on the ladder. Over time, you begin to scale through. It almost feels like all of the things, all of the skills, the knowledge, the attributes, the behavioral pattern you have made over the years, everything you've learned over the years would then just help you to scale up. There was a time I volunteered with my, I worked with my mentor, right? And before I started the work, I was so sure that I had a lot of competence. Like, in fact, I was so sure. I entered with a lot of confidence. I was that person that entered with confidence. But by the time I started building skills and adding knowledge, right now where I am, the success I'm making right now is a result of the competency I built while working with others. So you may actually feel like, oh, you are good, and you have this competence. You have this competence, but there's still a lot of things to learn. Right? And I'm sure Mr. Tony will still talk about how and some other things. But then we keep building components for confidence through competencies. You have to master skills. Once you know that this is the path, but before you get there, you might have to volunteer, have mentors, you serve, to pick up some roles right there and there. But after a while, you begin to know that, okay, this is the path I need to go. And then you master the skills. There has to be practical application and experience. You can't just be acquiring knowledge. Yes, it is good for you to gather knowledge. It is good for you to learn. But then there has to be practical application. So if right now you're in between jobs or you're waiting to get a job, this is the best time for you to volunteer. This is the best time for you to put all the skills and the knowledge that you're gathering into action. There has to be practical application and experience. You must be able to go through transformative process. You have to go through transformative process across your job roles. Then you have to build psychological resilience. Because when you get a new role, almost as you're entering into that role, almost every month, your processes might actually change. The requirement, the KPI can actually change. Why? Because the market is fast changing. Everything is almost uncertain. So if psychologically or spiritually, mentally, you're not in a right place, you actually will feel overwhelmed. That's the reason why people break down. That's the reason why people end up saying, oh, that workplace is toxic. Why? Because, yeah, it's possible a workplace can be toxic on one hand, but it's also possible that it's because you're not in the right mind frame. That's the reason why you couldn't quickly adapt. And then you felt like, oh, they were picking on you. But they were actually expecting you to actually adapt very fast, right? So building confidence through competence is a transformative process that enhances one's effectiveness in job roles. So this will foster your positive self-perception and the belief in your ability to succeed, right? This will help you know that you can actually succeed. I hope that I was able to just really cover a lot. But I'm here. If you have questions, please go ahead and ask. I'm going to stop right here. Thank you, everyone.